How to be able to build an app company or an application for mobile devices is today's Q&A episode number 4. And today's question comes from Chris, and he was wondering how can you be able to build an actual application? How do you go by it, and etc. So, for this episode, I'm going to be breaking down the core items you need on building it and then also how to move forward in the future. So the first thing is your idea, right? Your concept, what you want to go to the market with. First thing you want to do is do some basic research on your target market, right? Some very core things for your business, like who's going to be using the app, what kind of services is it? Are people going to be paying you money? So you can be able to understand how to move forward in the future. Now, the core question here was actually how to build one. That's the first thing because you don't have that built, you can't be able to build a business around it. So when it comes to building an app, you really have to know a couple of things. Are you either a programmer? And if you're not a programmer, I highly recommend you don't just say you're going to learn how to program and then build the app. Because I guarantee you, the app you want to build is probably going to take a lot more manpower and more skilled and experienced people to do it. So, what you want to do is go spend maybe a month learning some basic programming stuff so you can be able to speak the language of programming to a certain level so that you can be able to go find people who actually know how to program and that's what they do as their full time. Especially if you're going to be the CEO or executive of the company, you probably want to delegate the building of the app to people who are going to be your quote unquote employees. Now, on how to go with this, it can be very different, right? If you do not have to have the capital to actually hire people to build the app, then the thing you want to do is give them something like shares, right? Say that you're going to have this percent of stake in the company, helping me build this app. Now, if people do not want to do that route, then what you want to do is basically maybe save up some capital as you're learning some basic language of the building the app. You're doing some research about your target market, how you're going to be able to reach those people out, so that you're not just staying stagnant because you can't be able to build the app. You always want to constantly be moving forward each and every day. Now, after you've been able to find people who know how to program, then what you want to do is make sure you have a design sheet already ready. Make sure you have a very detailed feature list of what you want to develop. Now, this is the next very key important part about when it comes to building an app or a software. You do not want to build your entire version of the app in the first release. You want to build a minimal viable product. Let's say, for example, if you're building a video streaming app, right? Or maybe you're building, I don't know, an app that helps people with diabetes or something. Maybe the first version is going to be just tracking their data on diabetes. And then the next version is able to give them recommendations on what to eat based on their data that you've been collecting on them. Maybe the next version is able to connect them with certain something, right? So basically, your foundation is able to build up to the next version of your app. That's what basically I'm talking about. Now, as far as my experience in this area, I've built an app which has over 10,000 users right now. It's still in the MVP stage and it has 10,000 users, and we're still adding on features to it. So that's why you want to strategize in a way you're able to do that. Now, the reason why I tell you to do that is number one, you're going to save money. Okay, the reason why I say save money is because your first version should not cost over like $1,000. It should not be that much. It should be very simple and very basic for you to release to the market and test out and see how people react to it. And then your next version should be slightly or expensive because now you know the target market, you know what they want, you know how to be able to acquire the users, and now you can release a better version that you can be able to attain more people. Then you keep building up and up and up. And if you take a look at history of all the apps that have come before us, like Facebook and etc., if you look at their first version of Facebook compared to this version we have right now, you see a very, very significant difference. So don't get overwhelmed on trying to make the perfect product. The first product should not be perfect. It should have some issues. It should have some glitches here and there. I'm not saying release an unperfect product, but I'm saying release a minimal viable product that will get you moving forward. And then I'm probably going to guess, a follow up question is probably going to be like, okay, I got the app built. What is the next stage? After you build your minimal viable product, you want to go and start doing marketing. Now, the first round of marketing is, of course, you want to test it out with your friends and family members and make sure it's working on multiple devices. Trust me, when it comes to apps, especially Android apps, since the question came from a person in Sierra Leone in Africa, it's going to be a lot of different Android devices out there. They might react differently to your code. They might react differently to the design, the responsiveness on the app. So you're going to make sure you test it before you release it to the market. Okay. And then after you've done that, it doesn't mean that you should shy away if you find out you have like a small little issue. There's some issues you can just push off the side and still release the app to the market, and then let the people decide on what they think, if it's good or bad. And that's kind of the strategy you can be able to use to go with this. Now, to quickly recap what we went over on this video. So the first thing is your idea. Do some general research around your target market. Know what they want, know the price points, know the features. The next thing you want to do is actually dive into and learn a little bit about how app development works. Learn about what kind of what kind of engine you're going to be using. Is it Android SDK? Are you going to be using this API, that API? You want to know that stuff. The next thing you want to do from there is find a team of people who know how to build it. People have over a year of experience in programming. Because trust me, you do not want to spend a year learning how to program and then start building the app. That's a lot of time going to waste. You want to delegate that stuff, especially if you plan to be the CEO or executive and etc. Then after that, what you want to do is release that minimum viable product, right? The first version of your product. Test it out in the market. See how people react to it. And then from there, you can kind of recycle that process, where you're able to go from, R&D, research and development, MVP, and then release. You keep doing that circular wheel, and you're able to release a better version and a better version. So that's basically what I have for you on how to start building an app. But of course, there's more detailed stuff that go with it. And if you have questions, maybe you didn't understand a part, just send over your question, message on Facebook, and I can be able to reply to you personally. Or maybe if I see a lot of demand on this video, then I'll make a 20-minute version of the video that goes more in detail. But other than that, that is today's ER Q&A episode number 4. Thank you for your questions. Shout out to Chris for the question. And if you have your own questions, message away, and I'll try my best to answer them. And I'll see you guys later on another episode of ER Q&A. And peace out. Drop it.